Yo, what's happening, baby? This is a Flaming Sword Musing, and I'm Kamsin Khan. Um, I was watching a video by a brother, FD, the signifier. I will leave a link in the description, but he was talking about male objectification and the ramifications of that. And he brought up the subject of D'Angelo and how, he married Angie Stone and he was like sexually objectified to the point where he had a video, what was it called? How Does It Feel? That's not the name of the song, but that's what he was saying. Where he was that was basically a long montage of his body, right down to his demonstration route. You know what I'm saying? And how that video was a hit and how it made him so uncomfortable that he eventually, he got fat, but he bounced back, but it was an adjustment period. You know what I'm saying? And I really think that the reason why that happened was because of the Angie Stone connection, because I think there's a situation that since everybody on the Me Too movement, they, went after Bill Cosby, they went after R. Kelly, they went after Ron Jeremy of all people, who was in the porn industry. So if you find yourself in a position where you can get so deep in the porn industry of all things that you actually find yourself in the presence of a Ron Jeremy and you expect to not be fondled, you feel like it's an actionable cause for a Ron Jeremy to fondle you. But in my book, it's like, okay, it's Ron Jeremy. If you went through all of this to meet a Ron Jeremy, then, you know what I'm saying? You pretty deep in the game and you pretty much know what he's going to do. It's a setup or whatnot. But I would like to discuss more, and Boosie kind of alluded to it. With the Lori Harvey discussion about these women, the man eaters. You know what I mean? Boosie kind of alluded to it when he was talking about Lauren Harvey. You know what I mean? You got women out here who are man eaters. And the Angie Stone, and by man eater, I mean the powerful female artist who comes across a young artist whose trajectory is on the way up, and she becomes entangled with him, and then his trajectory flatlines at best. If his trajectory doesn't spike, it flatlines. I believe this is going to be a two-part discussion, so I'm going to be general about it this time. Well, I'm going to be more, because I remember when Halle Berry announced that Eric Benet, Milwaukee native, was her man. Now, before that, Eric Benet put in a gang of work. I mean, like, if you're from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, you know how hard it is to reach like Eric Benet position. If you are from Milwaukee, you know that the position that Eric Benet reached from Milwaukee was quite remarkable. He became like worldwide famous strictly off of, he grinded his way up from Milwaukee. So this dude was an exceptional talent. If he made it from Milwaukee, Wisconsin to where he was at, he was an exceptional talent. Earth brother, walking around barefooted, dreadlocks, you know what I'm saying? Lost his woman, kept grinding, raised his kid, all of that. Like, this dude, like, he took qualities that, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people see black men going through, and he was a positive reflection of that. And me, myself, personally, knowing where he came from, which is the same place that I came from, I haven't reached the status that he reached in the game. I only moved from Milwaukee, Wisconsin to Appleton, Wisconsin. I still have the same day-to-day struggles that a nigga has, but I still feel like I won. And he surpassed that. You know what I'm saying? Before he met Halle Berry, he surpassed that. You know what I mean? He actually worked his way to like a position where everybody in the industry noticed who he was. You know what I'm saying? He made his rounds. He made his circus. I don't think that Halle Berry was the first celebrity chick that this singing, crooning, high yellow nigga with the sensitive, barefoot, dreadlocked ass. He done nailed a couple of them chicks. You know what I'm saying? That's why when Halle Berry announced that they were together, she put so much emphasis on my man. Look at the footage. If I find it, I'll look it up and put it in the description. But she put emphasis on my man. So she was letting all them other, you know what I'm saying, powerful women of influence, the Vivica Foxes, from back in that day, the Vivica Foxes, the Jada Pinkett's, the Vivica Foxes, the Jada Pinkett's, them chicks out there, because the older, more established Angela Bassett's, maybe she did make a movie, How Stella Got Her Groove, back when she went to Jamaica and found a young dude who was, on an upward trajectory, and we ain't gonna go there though. But she made a hard announcement / stipulation that this was her man. You know what I mean? And shortly after that, Eric Benet disappeared from the scene. You know what I'm saying? His work rate decreased. His music output decreased to the point where didn't nobody even know who Eric Benet was anymore. To the point where people from Milwaukee who were supporting Eric Benet on his run and his push to get famous, the only thing that they could say about him was that he knocked Halle Berry. Player shit. Anybody from Milwaukee knows. Man, it's Pimp City. But so that was the only thing we could say about him. Like, man, Eric Benet knocked Halle Berry. But nobody was thinking like, man, if Eric Benet knocked Halle Berry, how the fuck did he disappear? If Eric Benet knocked Halle Berry, he should have had a song on every movie that she was on. If Eric Benet knocked Halle Berry, he should have been the soundtrack king. He should have had a inroad to the soundtrack industry. You know what I mean? But Eric Benet disappeared when he knocked Halle Berry. And the next time we heard about Eric Benet, he was sleeping with prostitutes. They were being divorced. You know what I mean? His stock was downgraded so viciously. One, off the strength that he had no input, no output. No output, no work. Couldn't nobody say, oh, did you hear Eric Benet's last song? That was years ago. when he was just getting started, when he was just getting right. You know what I'm saying? And then the next thing you hear about him, he getting divorced from Halle Berry. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day, Jay-Z saying, don't be Eric Benet. You know what I mean? And that's the point. Don't be Eric Benet. Don't be D'Angelo. You know what I mean? Don't allow these, I call them man eaters. You know what I'm saying? Because they're up there in status. Just like Bill Cosby, it's the same authority game. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are laws like if a person is a certain age, she's considered of age, but then she's not considered of age because she's with the person who went through that sexual erotic interaction with her was in a position of authority. Some dude from Chicago went through it with that. The girl was of legal age, but since she was dealing with a guy who was of a position of authority, his position of authority was considered enough to strip her of her choice. So it pretty much reduced her back down to statutory rape age. It was pretty much statutory rape because of his position of authority. And with Angie Stone, the same thing happened. Like I said, like D'Angelo's career was on a thoroughly upward trajectory when he met Angie Stone. And you know, you get that world, you know, like females are freaks, man. You know, a lot of females are freaks. And when they get that like position and rank, they objectify guys too. They pass around guys too. Just like, you know, Snoop Dogg and his homies, they meet a girl and they'll pass her around. The only difference between men and women is that when men pass around a girl, they pass her around right there at the point of attack. You know, set it out for the homies. You know what I'm saying? All the homies hit right then. But when women pass around a hot prospect, you know what I'm saying? They might send a picture of a dude demonstration to her friends and be like, oh yeah, he on the market. And you know, it might take a guy probably like 3 months to run through the circle. If it's like 5-6 girls in the circle, it might take him like a month or two to run through that circle. Where if it was a female being passed around by a guy, she's being passed around right then. So all the guys are gonna hit right then. That's the only difference, you know. But when a guy becomes objectified and a piece of meat to the chicks, you know, a lot of times, you know, and another difference is that when guys are trying to claim a piece of meat, they try to claim it subliminally. But when women claim a piece of meat, they claim it obviously, like, yo, this is my dude right here, hands off, woody woody wada, you know what I'm saying? So it really makes, like, especially when your fan base is female, you know, like back in the day, a lot of like heartthrob actors and singers and even athletes, they didn't announce that they got married, like Jose Canseco or some shit like that. You know, these heartthrobs, they didn't announce that they were married, you know, because they knew that it would decrease their fan base, which was female. So when you get these Angie Stones and these Halle Berrys who like stake their claim on a D'Angelo or a Eric Benet's availability, they're basically, that claim that they're staking is actually a wooden stake driven through the heart of their careers, because their career is female fan based. So if you jump on somewhere saying this is my man, that means that his entire fan base is like, oh, he's spoken for, it's dead, it's over with. You know what I'm saying? Woo, woo, woo. They don't want him no more. It used to be a strategy back in the day for, you know, big time guys to not announce, especially if they're female, if their fan bases were female, to not announce that they were married, to not announce none of that. You know, allow the fantasy to exist. So if you kill the fantasy, you're killing the fan base, which means I can't work no more. But I still got these songs, I still got this, I still got that. Especially with a guy like D'Angelo, because he was like super sexy before he even met. I don't think Eric Benet was more sexy. He was more, you know what I'm saying? D'Angelo was like a more sexier type of dude. He was more like a, whatever. But when it's like you get a fly dude, you know what I'm saying? And he a player type cat, and female and motherfucker, word. You let Angie Stone tie you down? Like Angie Stone? You let Angie Stone tie you down. The plus on Eric Benet is that he got entangled by Halle Berry. D'Angelo got entangled by Angie Stone. So a lot of the world was like, Angie Stone, for real? You tweaking, fam. Like, you let Angie Stone hem you up like that and put cuffs on you and like Angie Stone. That's like chicks, they was like, Angie Stone, for real, D'Angelo? Angie Stone? Whatever. He had to work back from that. And he put in that work and, you know, whatever. But it's them entanglements, them times when those powerful females come across a young talent, a guy that they know nobody else had or few people have had, and there's something about him that's outstanding enough that makes her attracted to him. He knows that she knows that the chick's lower, and if you can sink your teeth into one, of them guys before, you know, whatever, I believe that's the difference between like the man power dynamic and the women power dynamic, because a lot of times, even though women feel like they're not empowered, they feel like, oh, this is that, this dude did this, I had to get on the casting couch, so on and so forth. When they do that, it elevates their position. You know? It elevates their position. When a man finds himself on his upward trajectory and finds himself ensnared in an entanglement with a woman of power, it kills his trajectory. History shows that, you know? It just obliterates his trajectory. You know, people need to think about that. When you start talking about all of the, like, women who were supposed to have been, or allegedly, you know, went through these things with, these were all successful women. These weren't no, you know, broke chicks. These chicks' careers continued because that was the deal. Your career will continue if you pop this pill. Your deal, your career, your upward trajectory will continue if you lay on this casting couch. But with women of power, your upward trajectory will end if you allow me to have claims on you. If you allow me to maneuver you into a position where I make the choices on whether or not I'm going to make the choices to ensure that you stay with me, which means you're going to go nowhere. hopefully you guys have gotten some from this. I'm still working it out. Like I said, this is going to be a 2-part discussion. This is a Flaming Sword Musing, and I am Kamseen Khan. Be blessed and be blessings. 1.